He's energetic and he's focused, but he scared people.
Disciplined.
Determined.
Focused.
High energy.
Tonight, Queenslanders have voted for hope over fear.
Hello Campbell, how are you?
Fantastic, thanks.
Well, we're here to talk about David Crisafulli.
Well, I don't know that he's someone who's out there to make friends.
Some people think David's arrogant. That couldn't be further from the truth.
He feels that migrant family story and the life they carved out in North Queensland very, very strongly. It's a big part of his persona. Everything in David's background has really been leading up to this point.
There was no moment when David decided politics was for me. It's been in his lifetime vision.
My grandfather in 1960 left his hometown of Italy because he was struggling to get ahead. He was cutting cane by hand in the blazing North Queensland sun, and within 10 years of hard work, he had bought that farm. Hey guys. Well, how are you?
Good, mate.
Thanks. No, don't worry about him. He's just following me around. Thanks. Thanks very much, guys. I never saw him not go and do something. He was always busy. He was always hard at it. No matter what I ever achieve, it's only because of him, and it means a lot to me.
He's warm to everyone that he meets. He stops and he talks to people, but that discipline that you see with him is always there.
David knew what he was doing in 20 years' time.
First tractor I learned to drive. This was my grandparents' house, Norma. They bought the farm in the early 70s. Incredibly modest home.
Do you remember as a boy coming?
Oh my God. Holy moly's, yes. All of our Christmases are underneath that house. Antipasto, followed by raviolis, followed by beautiful big roast. No matter when you came here, what time of the day or the night, she would feed you. We lived a little further. We lived in a little hamlet very, very close to here in Trebon.
From Mary Carlisle.
Oh wow! Now these. So this is almond meal. This is almond meal. It does have sugar, but that is my favourite dessert, and it is actually, if you're going to have it, it's as close to healthy as you get.
I first met David when he was called the Kid.
The rally comes less than a week after a group of growers held discussions in Brisbane with Premier Peter Beattie.
He was the reporter at Win Television.
This was my little studio when I worked here well over 20 years ago.
David had a reputation for aggressively pursuing stories.
In 2004, this young journalist became Townsville's fresh-faced new councillor.
He was the youngest councillor ever on the Townsville City Council.
In 2008, when the Townsville and Thuringowa councils were merged, Crisafulli made a deal with the popular Thuringowa Mayor Les Tyrrell to run in partnership. The shrewd political move paid off. Tyrrell won the election as mayor and Crisafulli as deputy. He was there for a few years before he rode Campbell Newman's meteoric rise into state parliament.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all Queenslanders this evening for voting for change.
Like, I didn't have a game plan to be Premier. This bloke had a game plan to be the Premier. There is no doubt about it.
In the 3 years that Campbell Newman was in power, he and David Crisafulli were quite close. It was kind of a mentor-mentee relationship.
David Crisafulli was probably one of the standouts as future talent. He certainly had the ambition. Dare I say it, he was very can-do. I made him a Minister for Local Government. The only criticism I would have is that at the time he was a lot younger than everybody else. On occasions he had to be pulled back a bit by his Director General and his Chief of Staff.
He and Campbell were in Townsville, and Campbell said, look, let's go for a run up Castle Hill. Well, it really pinged off Campbell because David beat him up Castle Hill.
Like he must have won. Guy's got 16 years edge on me.
We had an extraordinary opportunity between 2012 and 15 in Queensland in government, and we let ourselves and we let Queenslanders down.
There are 20,000 public servants, more than this state can afford.
After 3 short years, voters turfed him and the Newman government out of power.
I just recall Crisafulli ringing me and just being quite distressed about, and quite a sort of a harried call from, a very harried individual on the other end saying, oh my God.
When he first lost, he cried because he thought that his career path had tanked.
There were some difficult times after my election loss in North Queensland. Not difficult for me, but difficult for the kids, and we made a decision that we wouldn't go through that again. In my second career in public life, we made a decision to keep them out of the media. And I still think it was the best decision we ever made.
Whether to put your family life into the public eye, and that's a decision for him, but I think possibly that shields a bit of that family man that people won't see because he's not having his children and his wife on display all the time.
It's a very, very taxing role for families. It comes at a huge personal cost. I think everybody in the Parliament would like to be a better parent, a better partner, a better family person, and they sacrifice those things because of the role in public office.
He uprooted his family from North Queensland, took them down to the safe Liberal seat of Broadwater on the Gold Coast.
If you lose government and you lose your own seat as well, I mean, that's a political double whammy.
The setback of the Newman government losing office in 2015 probably has put David on the pathway to where he is now.
When I first started in public life, I put on a lot of weight early. It got away from me, and I made a promise to myself I'd never let that happen again. I think there's nothing worse. If you want to show people that you're serious about serving them and you've got the energy to do it, you should be in good shape. I start every day, no matter what time. I start up with a gym session, so if I'm on a plane at 6 o'clock, it means I go to the gym at 3. Done and dusted. It's not even 5 a.m.
He doesn't waste a minute of his day or a day of the month or a month of the year.
People might say, well, he's always on. That personal discipline is across every aspect of his life.
The fallout of another election loss.
The party room has today elected David Crisafulli as the leader.
I don't think David's someone that would ever give up. One day he was always going to come back.
I'm hurting from the election loss we just had, and I am hungry. And I'm hungry to win.
In 2020, as opposition leader, Crisafulli methodically started picking apart the Palaszczuk government.
It's like Campbell Newman all over again. Campbell Newman.
His criticism of the government cut through to the electorate, and he was able to effectively paint Palaszczuk as the red carpet premier.
Standing up for the people of Queensland has been an honour of my life.
Stephen Miles, elected unopposed and unanimously by the party room.
Our side of politics have been essentially in the wilderness for 30 years, apart from 2 short stints in government. That's why we're so determined to work together.
He's worked hard to unify the LNP, and if there are tensions between David Crisafulli and the former leaders like Deb Frecklington, you wouldn't see it. For the past 4 years, everything was stage managed, everything was scripted to the T.
It is not part of our plan. It is not a part of our plan.
Not part of our plan. Not part of our plan. It's not part of our plan. It's not part of the plan. There will be no change.
Everybody was rowing in the same direction. They all wanted the same thing, which was power.
They have voted for a fresh start, and they have voted for a majority LNP government.
He's hard on the positions that he takes. He's ruffled plenty of feathers.
The trouble with politics is that you inevitably, have enemies. You'll have bruised egos and hurt feelings. He probably will be at a greater danger of that, just because he is, again, focused.
He's prepared to ruffle feathers even inside his own tent because he wants to focus on the main game.
The whole package is high energy, driven, outcome focused, can do, and very ambitious.
He's been in the spotlight and under pressure for 4 years and not able to put a foot wrong. There is definitely that very disciplined and focused persona that comes through. I do think we will see him relax and settle into the role and show a little bit more of his genuinely warm self as he becomes comfortable as Premier.
Is David Crisafulli Campbell Newman Mark II? That's the fear of some Queenslanders, and it's one we will know the answer to quite soon.
There is definitely still a lingering question mark because of the last time the LNP was in office.
He is not anything like the former Premier. He won't be a Premier like the former Premier.
People accuse me of being fairly intense. Well, he's got another 20% on me.
And obviously we have, photo evidence of you
eating spaghetti. Yeah, which you run regularly.
Yes, of course.
Like every few days. So, hello, Lenore.
Is the spaghetti eating photo your version of the Lawrence Springborg ironing his shirt?
No, because Lawrence Springborg had abdominals and wanted to be seen. I had a mouthful of pasta and didn't want to be. So no, faced with the choice, I would much rather have the abdominal photo with the ironing board.